Hey guys, it's Argus Integrated Defense. I'm Nicole Thurman here with Kenny Florian, and today we've got a topic to talk about with you that gets sent to us a lot, right?
Definitely. Knife defense. And first of all, you have to talk about how difficult it is to deal with a knife. A knife attack is tough for a lot of different reasons. First of all, the individual that is committed to stab you, to take steel, sharpened steel, and put it in your body multiple times.
At this distance.
At this distance, you're dealing with an individual who is very, very dangerous and most likely sick in the head in some way, shape, or form. Right? This is just a very violent encounter. The other thing, the speed in which they happen, typically it happens so quick. And by the time you recognize you're being stabbed, you're already kind of bleeding out.
Many people report after a fight not realizing they were even being stabbed.
Exactly. And so many times that happens. And even that person doesn't recognize it to the point where they die shortly after, right? Because the adrenaline's running. Also, it could be dark or not. You think, I've heard this so many times. People who've been stabbed, they thought they were just getting punched.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's hard to recognize. Okay. So we've already acknowledged that these attacks happen very quickly. If I'm trying to stab someone multiple times, I'm trying to get in and get out as quickly as possible. What I don't want to do is go here and be like, aha, I killed you. I'm going to leave it here. And now you're instantly going to die. No, it usually takes a little bit of time for you to bleed out, unless you maybe strike some kind of, a heart directly. But even then, you're still going to be that struggle.
Yeah, even an arterial bleed. Yeah. Someone could still kill you the whole time they're dying.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
okay.
Maybe a fatal blow, but there's still some fight.
100%. So I need to be able to dig, and I'm usually going to go different spots, right? Different vulnerable
sewing
spots.
Machine motion.
Yeah, and that's tough to deal with. Now, we're not even dealing with or talking about someone who is trained in the knife, right? And there's big debates on what's best or whatever. But okay, I've seen a lot of interesting approaches, let's say, approaches that I would not advocate for. So if someone is trying to stab me, right, I've seen people do this, like where I'm just going to grab the wrist, right? And now if they go to the other side, I just grab that wrist. But she could switch again, and I'm going to grab the wrist, and you switch this way, and I grab, see, even in just doing it slow motion, I went to try to catch her wrist, and what happened? I actually got stabbed, and we're going in slow motion here, okay? I'm not the best athlete in the world, but I've competed in professional sports, in fighting. I played soccer, in college, Division I, all that stuff. So I'm a decent athlete, but there is no way that I can catch, right?
No way.
Anybody's wrist that is determined to stab me. This is silliness. You're going to get killed.
In addition, the other thing with knife versus gun or blunt object is you can't grab it.
Yes, exactly.
You literally have to grab something on my body.
Right. Whereas a gun, you can maybe grab it or do something, right? So a knife, that's obviously we're talking about a sharp thing. I always tell people, if someone is attacking you with a knife, you should work under the assumption that you're probably going to get stabbed at 100%, some point. You almost have to have that in your head. But thinking that you're going to deal with this issue and I'm going to catch a knife in real time that's coming at me, and then she switches and I'm going to catch that knife in open space. First of all, if I have a knife and I have a limb in open space out here, what I'm doing is I'm expecting for me to win some kind of an arm wrestling match out here. Even if the person
with the weakest part of your grip.
With the weakest part of my grip.
Contain it, right?
All she has to do is go outside the thumb and she's right back to stabbing me again. And this is, I'm not the strongest man, but I'm a man dealing with, a woman that's much smaller than me, right? And I'm just thinking I'm going to hold this. It's not going to happen, guys. I'm going to get stabbed. I will get killed. Absolutely. Okay. So, I see this approach and it is just so dangerous. Or, the blocking, the same thing with the blocking where I'm going to block.
Yes, I've seen that a lot.
Or I hit her wrist in such a manner where she magically lets go. Guys, this is not going to happen. This is stuff that happens in the movies and probably really bad movies from the 80s. That is just, it's not going to happen.
I've literally been sent this a lot for women's self-defense when they're telling them that they're going to be able to just block a grown man. Right. But like you said, once you block it, they're not staying there. It's not a static movement, right? It's got to be retracted and coming again, and
100%. It's just a bad idea. Yes, I agree. We need to do something about that limb that's trying to stab us. I would always try to pin it towards them. So let's say you have the wrist, you have the knife, let's say in this hand so they can see. I'm always going to try to pin it to them and maybe come around and pull that into them and maybe deal with this other hand so they can't just pass it off, right? And even this is going to get dicey, but at least I'm pinning the weapon towards something. I'm sandwiching that weapon either to her, to the car, to a wall in some way, shape, or form, or at least I have some kind of fundamental advantage, right? I want physics to be in my favor, but to hold a weapon out here and think that I'm going to control her for even more than a couple seconds is ludicrous. It's just not going to happen. But I see instructors teach us with such confidence.
Yeah.
Where you're putting that person at risk. I think
that's the disservice, is it's obviously never been pressure tested.
Yeah.
And even like that day where you and I were really working knife for like a few hours.
Yeah.
I hate working knife defense. It's so defeating because you are going to get stabbed every time.
Right.
It's so hard versus other defenses you're working. But when we started working, just making the priority getting to the back.
Yes.
And getting hold of them, that's the only time I've ever felt, I wouldn't say successful, but that I had
way more confident.
Yes.
So you had a plan that was more workable.
But again, I think that was functionally, physically working your whole body versus counting on eye hand and I'm going to just
absolutely
sit and block it all.
And Nicole is being very honest here, because the reality is when you're dealing with a knife, when you're dealing with any kind of weapon, guys, anyone who says all you got to do is this, they haven't been stress testing. They don't know. They've never really been in that situation. And, it's just not an honest way. In martial arts, we're supposed to test that in a very honest way and find the best way possible. The best way possible still doesn't mean 100% success. It means you're hopefully, if you're doing a good job of raising your percentage, right, of being successful. But anytime there's a knife involved, a gun involved, a bat involved, a stick, whatever it is, they have an advantage over you. I don't have a weapon. They do.
Absolutely.
And again, they have that advantage of attacking me. I have to react to something that is happening first. So they have a few different advantages over you in that regard.
And because even when we're practicing it, I know it's coming, right? Like I'm not in line at the grocery store going to my car and have to recognize the threat and then respond. We're standing here and I know it's coming.
Exactly.
Right? And 100%. We still miss it.
A predator is going to attack you when you least expect it. If they want to be good at being a predator or a criminal, right? They're trying to catch you off guard.
But I would say too, the foundational principle approach that we apply is it's pivotal, because a lot of times these things have been told to women because they do work for a 250-pound guy going against a 100-pound guy. Yeah. But they've never, some of those teaching it has worked in pressure testing for them, but because they're not the smaller, weaker person in the fight. And so you can't just extrapolate that success to the size discrepancy being the other direction.
Absolutely. Now Nicole knows what she's doing with the knife, but when we were working, did you stab me?
A little bit.
Yeah, she did. She definitely stabbed me. Okay. I had holes in my body that day. So, and again, and I'm a guy that, fought at a high level, but again, dealing with a knife is totally different. So, there's better ways than others, but what you don't want to do is expect to catch a knife coming at you like this. It's almost the same silliness. If you throw a very slow punch at me, it's almost like I'm doing this, right? You see in the movies where you're like, boom, and I'm Superman. I crush her fist until she gets it. That's not going to happen. That is for the movies, and it's the same thing.
You'd never tell your fighters to do that.
I would never tell my fighters to do that.
Wait, just bait them in,
and just catch their fist, right? And so again, not going to happen. I don't care who you are, how many stripes you have on your belt, at a high level, not going to happen. And that would be the same thing as trying to catch a wrist in real time. You're throwing the dice there.
Because we even watched sport technique where you talk about it and you're like, even in sport, that could only happen if this, and this, and this lined up. Or that person was compliant, this, and this ways. So in a violent encounter, and statistically, people that commit acts of violence have experienced
Right.
horrifying acts of violence on themselves since their whole memory. So then what they experience mentally, physically in the attack is not what you experience.
They've been to that dark place.
100%
Most people
stepping on
haven't.
a bug.
It's why they're in the criminal lifestyle, right? So
they've experienced that at a high level. So we're just behind the 8 ball in so many ways that we can't count on a technique that's further going to handicap us, thinking that that's what's going to work.
Definitely.
So join us for more.
Yeah, exactly. You guys can check us out on social media. Argus Integrated Defense. We're always posting, different thoughts, different techniques, different scenarios that hopefully you can learn from. And we're open-minded as well. Send us your feedback as well.
Absolutely.
If you're watching this on YouTube, please share, subscribe to the channel, like as well. And, share this information. We are all in this together. We're all looking to try to defend ourselves in the best way possible. And hopefully we have some stuff that is going to help you as well. And you can always come out and visit us here in Charlotte, North Carolina as well. Check us out at Argus Integrated Defense. That's ARGUS, integrateddefense.com. And we'll be happy to help.